Does buying a home in Kansas City, or more specifically Johnson County, feel impossible? My name's Jenna Halverson, and I'm a realtor in the Kansas City area, and I specialize in Johnson County. I'm part of one of the top producing real estate groups in the metro, the Andy Blake Group, and we just closed over $100 million in sales in 2024. And I can't tell you how excited I am for the 2025 market. So listen and hear why this is your year to make a move. Why am I so excited about the housing market in 2025? Well, to start, Zillow just published their top 10 list of strongest housing market predictions for 2025, and Kansas City ranked number 8 on that list. A big part of that is affordability, housing prices in Kansas City. You get a lot for your money here, and not just housing. We have so many things to offer. We have tons of economic growth. We have new businesses coming into town. We have some of the top school districts in the entire country here, not to mention world-class sports and entertainment. How about those Chiefs going for the three-peat this year? But so much to be excited about right now in our city. Okay, so looking a little bit at the numbers of the Kansas City metro area, I always like to look at the Heartland MLS, which is Kansas City and surrounding areas, and then also compare that to Johnson County because what's happening there looks a little bit different. So these are stats as of December 2024, so this is hot off the press, but right now the average sales price in the Kansas City metro is about $363,000. And even though this has been a little bit of a weird year in real estate, that's up almost 10% year over year. Closed sales are also up 15%, and we're finally starting to see inventory increase a little bit. That's up about 6% year over year. If we compare that to Johnson County, our average sales price in Johnson County is nearly $522,000. So that's a pretty big difference. And average sales prices are up, not quite on trend that we've seen them in the Kansas City metro. They're up about 5% year over year, but people finally started making some moves at the end of the year, and our closed sales are up 20%. So looking at the numbers, what does that mean for purchasing a home in Johnson County? That average number is quite a bit higher than the Kansas City metro, so I always try to prepare buyers for that when we're stepping into looking at houses for the first time. So when you're starting the home buying process, especially seeing what a variance we have between the average price points in the Kansas City metro area and Johnson County on a whole, I think it's really important to go into that buying process with an open mind. I always tell my buyers I love for them to get an assessment of the value and see and feel that for themselves. So let's look at something that's at the high end of your budget. Let's look at something that's at the low end of your budget. And again, try to kind of see where do we want to stretch, or maybe we feel more comfortable kind of something that's in mid-tier, and maybe we have to do a little work or do something to make it our own, but we're a little bit more in control of our budget. I always tell buyers, don't ever hesitate to reach out and ask me to see a house that you know you're not going to buy. In fact, I hope you don't want to buy the first house that we step into, because I want that to be part of the process of, again, educating yourself on what the housing market's doing and what things look and feel like in different parts of town. Especially when we look at Johnson County, I mean, it can be apples to oranges depending on where you're at. If you're up north of 435 in Prairie Village, Roland Park, you might be dealing with a house that was built in the 1940s on, a concrete cinder block foundation versus getting down south into South Overland Park or Stillwell, you're looking at brand new construction. So I think once buyers kind of get a chance to assess the value, sometimes, again, they might see, hey, my dream was to be right in the heart of Johnson County, but maybe my budget is pushing me a little bit outside of that. But that doesn't mean that you don't get to access all of the amenities and everything that's available for you in Johnson County. For instance, I probably had about 5 or 6 buyers that made purchases just over the other side of the state line in Missouri, but they're still 8 to 10 minutes from all the amenities that they wanted in the heart of Johnson County. But they're able to stick more towards that average sales price that we see in the greater Kansas City metro and Heartland MLS versus pushing towards that mid-500 price point that Johnson County naturally pushes you towards. So again, that's another thing where we can kind of get creative to say, what's important to you? Where do you want to be day in, day out? And how do we get strategic to get you as much house as we can with that price point? So here's what I tell my buyers that come in with a huge laundry list of things that they must have in their first house, but maybe their budget doesn't accommodate that. So on average, most people move or refinance their property every 7 years. So a lot of times that first home purchase, I mean, that's more getting you into the game. You're getting a piece of the Kansas City pie. You're stepping into investing in real estate, and you're going to get some of the things on your wish list, probably just not all of them. But that first house really can be a segue to a second or a third home where, again, you're riding the appreciation that we see consistently in Kansas City this year, 5 to 10%, which is incredible. And again, you're still getting to be in an investment that you love. I always remind people like this isn't just a 401k or something that you're putting away. Like you get to be in and live in that investment day in and day out, watch that appreciate. And then again, maybe more of those must haves come into play on that second house purchase. So, how do you determine your budget if you're trying to buy a house in Johnson County? A lot of times when I sit down and meet with buyers, I ask them what they think their budget might be. And it's about 50-50. Sometimes people think that they know, hey, we can afford about this. And some people haven't thought about it at all. And that's where one of the most important parts of this is getting connected with a lender partner in the beginning, because ultimately you're not living in the purchase price of your home. You're living in your monthly payment. So we want to look at how much money do you have to put down? What are rates doing, and what can you afford month over month? That way, we're backing ourselves into that and can feel really comfortable stepping forward with what we do have to spend. So, an unpopular opinion that I like to address all of the time is that it's too expensive to buy a house in Johnson County, so I'm just going to keep on renting. And this one I could preach on for days on end because my renters out there are missing out on the opportunity to gain so much equity and value in the Kansas City market. So when I have objections from my renters in Johnson County, one thing that I always remind them about is that their return on rent is 0%. The average rent in Johnson County right now is about $1,700 a month. So if we look at that over the course of a year, that's over $20,000. That's $20,000 that you're getting no return on. Where what if you flipped that and that money was going into an investment and you were able to take advantage of all the amazing equity and appreciation that we're seeing in our market? 5 to 10% across the market in 2024, and you get all of the tax benefits of being a homeowner as well. So why did Zillow just rank Kansas City as one of the top 10 markets for 2025? I think there's a number of different reasons. One of the first being affordability. So even though we're talking about prices increasing and going up, we're still below the national average in terms of average home sale price. And with that, you're getting so much for your money here in the Kansas City metro, especially Johnson County. There's a huge investment being made into our city in many different avenues. One thing that I think is so cool is we literally have a marketing team for our city. I had a chance to attend an event last year, and it had a bunch of different influencers within the city, the mayor of Overland Park, and they have a group of people that go out and sell Kansas City. They sell it to top industries, to top businesses, to try to incentivize them to come here and make Kansas City their home. So that's so cool. We've seen a number of notable events come to the city, including the NFL draft. We've got World Cup. And all of that, again, is not just by chance. We've got people out there lobbying on our behalf. So anybody that knows me and the Halverson family knows that we're a little bit pickleball obsessed. So when we look at sports and recreation in Johnson County, we've been voted one of the most pickleball obsessed cities in the entire country, which is super cool. Super cool. We even have our own Major League Pickleball event that comes to Elite Tennis every year off 143rd and Metcalf. We have Chicken and Pickle, which is a top entertainment destination in the city, and we have all kinds of great pickleball complexes and entertainment venues popping up all over town. So if we talk about Johnson County, it's huge. Where I spend a lot of my time day to day is in southern Johnson County, and there is so much development happening. That's another thing that is super exciting for 2025. We just saw the brand new Blue Hawk Advent Sports Complex open. That place is incredible. They've got soccer, volleyball, ice skating, arcades, the whole mix, anything you can dream up there. We just finished a beautiful renovation on the Arboretum down south. Now they have an incredible venue. They do all kinds of neat events around Christmas and throughout the year. And here's why Johnson County is so attractive for families in 2025. They have top ranking school districts, some of the top schools in the entire country, some of the top sports programs in the entire country, and every other recreation and hobby you can imagine. There's all kinds of great opportunities for dance, theater, music, culture. I have 4 kids myself, and they get the chance to compete in some of the most beautiful sports venues I've ever seen. So the opportunities are endless for families in Johnson County. I truly believe 2025 is a year to make a purchase in Johnson County. I've had so many buyers that have been waiting for the perfect circumstances, for rates to drop, for it not to be an election year, to see inflation come down a little bit. But ultimately, the longer you wait to step into the market, the more it's going to cost you. So get into the market, get in the game, start to get that equity in your investment working for you. I guarantee you won't regret it. I've never once had a buyer call me and say, "Gosh, I'm so unhappy in this home that my family could live in and enjoy day in and day out." Same thing when it comes to pricing. A lot of times I'll follow up with buyers a year, 2 years down the road. And one question I always like to ask them is, "Do you remember how much you paid for your house?" A lot of times they don't. They'll have to sit and think about it for a minute. And a big part of that's because ultimately at the end of the day, that's not what you're going to remember. You're going to remember what it looks and feels like to live in your house, to enjoy it, and see the upside potential of what it is to have a home that is building equity in an investment that's working for you. I'm Jenna Halverson. Thanks for joining me for Living Local. Would love for you to subscribe or drop a comment if you have a question about 2025 market predictions or what you think might be happening. And also follow me on Instagram for more day-to-day house tours. You can also see what we have up and coming on our team and exclusive access to properties before they hit the MLS.